right, the time is here. Take advantage. If you're interested in promoting your brand here at Viral Hip Hop News, music, brand, or even yourself, email me, Sam Ant at dlsmediainc1 at gmail.com for more information. Don't wait. Let's go.
Relevant. So Chris Brown's been going through a lot, banned from the NBA All Star Celebrity Game, and just done with a lot of things over the years. He lashed out on his Instagram and he put, I don't want to be accepted from none of the mainstream media and fake celebrities. I am the king of my own lane. Your fave ain't got shit on me and they know it. Ain't finna tap dance for approval. You will beg forgiveness of me. That I do know. I thought that was wild. I
Yeah.
thought that was wild when I seen it. I felt him. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
In ways I'm sure we can both relate to that, dealing
Yes.
with the industry and having, the proverbial chip on our shoulder. But ooh, when you seen it, man, how'd you kind of interpret that?
Yeah, man. I think that he's always kind of rode on his own accord. Always. You know what I mean? And I think that he has the type of star power, he has the type of longevity to where he doesn't need it. And I'm glad that he's consistent. You know what I'm saying? Because something that is very, very rare in this very fake industry is consistency.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You see people wishing, washing all over the place. You got to do like, and I'm just gonna call him out, a Steven Jackson. One day he's a blood, next day he's a advocate, the next day he's a Muslim, next day he's a Christian. Like everything is just all over the place, and he's not
Right.
the only one. You got so many people just doing so much shit for the camera. It's good to see somebody just stay and go, you know what? Nah, I'm not conforming to this bullshit.
Right.
Y'all never like me. Y'all put me into this box when I made a mistake when I was a kid and never let me get out. I wasn't gonna tap dance for nobody. Eff it, I am who I am, and I respect it, bro. I do.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
have the type of star power that he has, right, and to be able to, you know how much money he's probably lost and turned down because of where he stands. I respect it, bro. Too many people whore themselves for money and attention and fame nowadays.
Yep.
It's good to see a super megastar not have to do that, and I appreciate him for it.
Yeah, and though he may have his flaws like we all do,
Word.
he may have some of his running with the laws like we all do. I think the truth that remains is that he just exposed himself in a good way for being one of the real ones in the industry, like you were saying, and not someone who's willing to do anything. I mean, anything. Well, just make your eyes big, show your gums, or spit on your head.
Mm.
He said he ain't shucking, he ain't jiving. And he also pointed out that the fake celebrities, and we have dealt with that too in the industry. Not to get too deep into it, because we're talking more so about Chris Brown, but I admire it. I admire him, taking a stance and really just speaking out, because I think a lot of the stuff, the so-called sanctions and the money that he lost, in my opinion, was unfair. But I think that's what happens, when you go against the grain. You're kind of a man of your own, a masculine male. You ain't doing no wild shit. You ain't, shucking and jiving and willing to do anything for money. You kind of get put into like the unwanted or the untouchables box, which I feel like, in my opinion, I was saying the other day, Chris Brown is one of those guys that's uncancelable.
Hmm.
You can say what you want, you can block a few opportunities, but he always gonna be paid. He always gonna be rich. He always gonna be popular. You talking about, close to, don't say, I'm not saying he is, but close to Michael Jackson's status, for the music and things like that. And the more and more he continues to make that type of music, and great music, I should say, I think, we can start comparing him even more, to a Michael Jackson, a Usher, and those type of people. So salute him. Like you said, the key thing you said to me was like he just pretty much that's who he is. He been that guy.
Yeah.
He ain't really rock with the media. He ain't doing a whole bunch of
Right,
interviews.
right.
He ain't on Instagram live every day, wilding out, talking about every issue. He's just Chris. So shout out to Chris. We love you over here, man.
One thing I want to say real quick before we get off, as far as where he's at in Michael Jackson status and all this. I don't know where he's at as far as Michael, but it is now time. It's been time. When you talk about the Princes, the James Browns, the Beyoncés, the Janet Jacksons, the Michael Jacksons, the international superstars that can do it on an album, that can kill it on stage, that can sell out in the arena. Chris Brown is in that conversation.
Sure.
And where you rank him is up to you, but he deserves
Right.
to be up there. The man can dance his ass off, sing his ass off, dance and sing at the same time, put on a show, put on a performance, give you a great album. Very rare company in this industry, and one of the few to always keep it real, man. Salute him. He deserves to be in that conversation. Now, where you rank him, like I said, is up to you. But when you talk about Mike's, James Brown's, Prince's, Janet's, Beyonce's, Chris, Usher, got to put him in there.
Wow, I think that's huge.
Got to.
You know, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
At this point, the body of work that the two brothers, Usher and Chris Brown, have put out, and the consistency that they've been able to demonstrate. Well, Chris Brown came out what 04, 05 maybe,
Yeah, as a
like
kid.
mainstream.
Yeah,
I remember listening to this dude. He was a few years younger than us.
yeah.
I was early 20s.
Him and Jewel's running.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Like I had the whole album. That's when we had CDs, and I was rocking the Young Love, Young Lord, the joints back in the day. So yeah, man, great artist. That's when he had the little lisp in his voice and shit
Yep.
back in the day. But yeah. What do you feel about, or how do you feel about people that would try to put this whole stigmatization on Chris Brown, like he, was an abuser, he beats women and different things like that. There's always allegations about him. Like he's kind of a so-called semi-monster to some.
I think that's another aspect of him not conforming to the media and to what they want him to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When you don't bootlick or you don't kiss ass, it's easy for somebody to try to keep you down and throw you down. And what better way and what better device to use than the media to try to do that? If he don't rock with you, then they probably don't rock with him, and they don't rock with him. So it's very easy in a very public situation. And like we said a couple weeks ago, them pictures of Rihanna are embedded in society. They're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
Yeah.
And it's a very ugly reality that Chris Brown will never live down. And when you can pull it up so easily and be reminded of it so easily, it's very easy to paint a picture of somebody that may not necessarily be true. That man made a mistake when he was a child in a very tense, real situation and it got made public. I'm sure a lot of us made mistakes. Granted, neither one of us has ever put our hands on a woman. Don't know about that shit. But at the same time, there's been plenty of good brothers who have and
Oh,
made
yeah.
a mistake. It almost reminded me, remember Baby Boy when Jody was getting, Yvette was on Jody.
Oh,
She said, "Don't hit me, wow."
yeah.
It reminded me of that. And that one
Yeah.
moment where you just kind of lose it for a second and you make a vital mistake. And he, out of not him, very different than a lot of men have to live that out publicly. So it's just not fair. in
Not
my
to ever
opinion.
condone him or any man putting their hands on a woman, but I think it should be vice versa as well.
Yeah.
I think if you have a daughter, you should teach, your daughter, like, don't be getting up in a man's face,
Putting no hands on a man.
putting their hands on a man, because if he exercises his power, it could be deadly for you.
Yeah.
And still, even if a woman does that, I would say I'm not condoning it, and that a man could knock her block off. But
Right, right.
you don't want to antagonize a man, especially your man could be going through a whole bunch of shit, struggling, stressing about the bills and this, that. The last thing he needs is his woman putting her hand in his face, saying, hit me, hit me. You think you bad? You think you bad? Women shouldn't carry on like that at the
Right.
end of the day, too. So not saying I don't know if Rihanna did that or anything, but yeah, that's I'll just add that to the end of that.
Yeah, you figure they out there in a bad car publicly. I think they out in California.
Right.
Eyes are on them in
Right.
that tense situation. Who knows what anybody would have did, but it's a shame it's 15, 20 years later he still has to live that up.
Definitely.
I mean,
So yeah, so definitely shout out to Chris
Salute
Brown
to
and what he
Chris.
said. Let's talk about Bishop Lamar. Bishop Lamar.